What would you do if you woke up one day and realized you owed more money than your family makes in an entire year? Would you keep studying? Or would you give up your dream? My name is Barbara, and at 20 years old, I was buried under more than $50,000 of student loan debt. I felt ashamed, depressed, and terrified of the future. But in just 3 years, I paid off every single dollar. Here's how I did it. I remember the exact moment my chest tightened, my palms started to sweat, and I felt the weight of $50,000 crush me like a stone. It was late at night, I had just finished reviewing a chapter of my intermediate accounting textbook, and I opened my student loan portal to check my balance. My eyes froze on the glowing numbers on the screen. $5,347.62. It was as if the air in my small dorm room disappeared. I leaned back against my chair, staring, unable to process it. My heart was pounding. I whispered to myself, That's more than my mom makes in an entire year. For the first time since starting college, I wasn't just stressed, I was terrified. At that moment, I thought about dropping out, about hiding it from my parents who had sacrificed so much for me already, about giving up on everything I had dreamed of. I felt ashamed, weak, and utterly lost. But that night, the night I hit rock bottom, was also the night something inside me began to change. My name is Barbara. I'm 22 years old, a senior studying accounting at Arizona State University. I grew up in a modest neighborhood outside of Tucson, Arizona. My dad worked as a mechanic for over 30 years. My mom cleaned houses for families in wealthier parts of town. We were never poor enough to qualify for full assistance, but never well off enough to feel comfortable either. When I was a kid, my mom used to remind me, "Study hard, Barbara. Numbers don't lie. If you learn how to manage money, you'll never starve." That's partly why I chose accounting. I wanted stability. I wanted to build a different future. But choosing college also meant taking on debt. I received a small scholarship that covered part of my tuition, but it wasn't nearly enough. My family couldn't pay for the rest. So, like many first-generation college students, I signed loan papers with trembling hands. At first, it didn't feel real. The numbers were abstract. A few thousand here, a few thousand there. But then they piled up. Tuition, books, housing, meal plans. It all added up to over $50,000 before I even realized it. That night, when I saw the number on my screen, I panicked. For days afterward, I couldn't focus. I skipped classes. I cried in the library bathroom. My GPA started slipping. I didn't tell my parents. I didn't want them to feel guilty, but the shame ate at me. I kept thinking, what if I never get out of this? What if I ruin my life before it even begins? One Saturday morning, I scrolled through a student finance forum online. People were sharing stories about paying off massive debt. Nurses, teachers, even students younger than me. Some were still struggling, others had succeeded. For the first time, I felt less alone. Their words gave me hope. I thought if they can do it, maybe I can too. I made a decision. I was going to fight my way out. I was going to pay off $50,000. Not someday, not after graduation, but now. What followed were the hardest, most exhausting, yet most empowering 3 years of my life. Here's how I did it. 1. Increasing my income. I knew cutting costs wasn't enough. I needed more money coming in, so I worked harder than I ever thought possible. Part-time jobs. I worked evenings as a waitress at a local Mexican restaurant. The pay was low, but the tips kept me going. I would come home with sore feet and salsa stains on my shirt, but also with cash that went straight into my loan account. On weekends, I tutored freshmen in basic accounting and statistics. At first, I charged $15 an hour, then gradually raised it to $25 as word spread. Freelancing online, I discovered I could make money writing content. I joined a freelance site, took on blog writing gigs about finance, budgeting, even pet care. It wasn't glamorous, but it was money I could earn in my pajamas at 2 a.m. Small online business, One summer, I started selling used textbooks, thrifted clothes, and handmade jewelry on eBay and Etsy. It wasn't a gold mine, but every $50, every $100 mattered. I began to see debt repayment like a game. Find as many income streams as possible, pile them together, and attack the balance. 2. Living minimally. I realized that if I wanted freedom, I had to sacrifice comfort. I moved out of the single dorm room and into a cramped 2-bedroom apartment with 3 other girls. My rent dropped from $800 to $375. I canceled my Netflix and stopped eating out unless it was with coworkers where I got a discount. I learned how to cook rice, beans, pasta, and stir-fry on repeat. I packed lunches every day. I bought clothes only from thrift stores. I furnished my apartment with Craigslist finds. At first, it felt humiliating. My friends were going on spring break trips, buying new iPhones, posting Instagram pictures at fancy coffee shops. I was boiling ramen and patching up secondhand jeans. But over time, I realized I was building something bigger than short-term fun. I was building freedom. 3. Smart debt strategies? I educated myself about repayment methods. I started with the debt snowball method, paying off the smallest loan first. The rush of watching a balance hit zero kept me motivated. Then I switched to the debt avalanche method, tackling the highest interest loans. That saved me hundreds of dollars in interest. I made sure to pay more than the minimum every single month. Even an extra $50 shaved off months of repayment. I split payments into 2 each month. That kept my interest from snowballing. Every time I watched the numbers shrink, I felt stronger. 4. Using extra money wisely. Any unexpected money went directly into loans. My tax refunds, gone. Straight to Sally Mae. A $500 holiday bonus from my tutoring job, straight to the balance. I sold my old laptop for $200, my bike for $100, half my wardrobe for another $150. Every penny counted. It was painful, but I kept reminding myself, this isn't forever. 5. Taking advantage of support programs. I researched like crazy. I found out some employers offered student loan repayment assistance. When I landed a part-time internship at an accounting firm, I asked about it. They contributed $100 a month toward my loans. It wasn't much, but it was something. I also looked into public service loan forgiveness. While I didn't qualify fully, knowing there were programs out there gave me hope. I even refinanced one loan at a lower interest rate, which shaved off a few thousand in the long run. 6. Budgeting with precision. I downloaded budgeting apps like Mint and YNAB, You Need a Budget. I tracked every dollar. I followed a strict 50-30-20 plan. 50% for needs, rent, food, utilities. 30% for wants, which was basically zero most months. 20% or more went directly to debt. I set mini goals. Pay off $5,000 by summer. Kill the $12,000 loan before December. Each time I hit a target, I celebrated with something small, like a $5 coffee or a night watching movies with friends. 7. Shifting. My mindset. The hardest part wasn't the math, it was the mindset. I stopped comparing myself to friends who were living glamorous lives on credit cards. I put sticky notes around my room. Debt-free, Hostgrok freedom. Future Barbara will thank you. I kept a journal of my progress, writing how it felt to see the numbers go down. Little by little, I stopped feeling like a victim. I started feeling like a fighter. After 3 relentless years, I made my final payment. I remember hitting submit on that last online payment. The screen refreshed and the balance changed to 0.8. I burst into tears, not from sadness, but from pure relief. 3 years earlier, I had been drowning in fear. Now I was free. If you're a student drowning in debt, here's what I learned. Face the numbers. Don't hide. The first step is knowing exactly what you owe. Find every way to earn more. Don't be afraid to hustle. Small jobs add up. Live below your means. It's not forever. It's for your future. Use smart strategies. Debt snowball, avalanche, refinancing. Learn them and apply them. Stay motivated. Remind yourself daily why you're doing this. Don't let shame control you. Millions are in debt. What matters is what you do next. To every student listening, debt does not define you. Your choices, your discipline, and your determination do. Learn to manage money before money manages you. Don't let short-term temptations destroy long-term dreams. If I, a girl from a working-class family in Arizona, can pay off $50,000 in 3 years, so can you. If this story inspired you, don't forget to hit like, share it with a friend who might need some encouragement, and drop a comment below to share your own journey with student loans. And of course, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss more real stories like this one. Your support keeps this channel alive. Keeps this